All right, so today we'll be going into another part of Bitnest review. Yesterday I laid more emphasis on the control manager and the functions that the control manager have. All right, now that function is inherent in control manager, but there is something that triggers that function. Note that the control manager is already coded on Bitnest main contract, and that control manager is actually from PancakeSwap. So when you make a deposit, it goes to the control manager. Then somebody calls a function that triggers that control manager to either increase liquidity, decrease liquidity, or transfer. All right, now that person that calls that function is actually the one in charge of how money moves, whether you can get paid or not. So we are going to trace that address to actually know the address that calls that function. If the address is a smart contract, then it is decentralized. But if the address is not a smart contract, then it is an EOA address, which is a personal address. All right, and if it is a personal address, then it is fully centralized, and the person can decide to pay you or not. So the payment logic is no longer decentralized if we discover that, and that will answer the question why payout is delayed and why payout is now selective, not actually decentralized as claimed. All right, so that is it. So let's go straight to the BSC scan. To From the control manager, we can trace the address that owns the whole. So let's briefly identify the current owner of the PancakeSwap V3 position NFT, the wallet that controls the liquidity position. All right, and the wallet that can trigger that increase or decrease liquidity, collect fees, route withdrawal to any payment, and transfer the NFT to another wallet. All right, so we are going to identify it. So if it is a smart contract, then if it is decentralized. If it is not a smart contract but a personal wallet, then it is centralized. So now you can see that here you can see the position manager address, which is also from PancakeSwap, ending in 4364, is general PancakeSwap address that is also had coded on Bitnest code. Now let us quickly go to scan this position manager address. So when we scan the position manager address, you will see this. All right, you will see this. Okay, you will see this is the position manager contract address. Now if you go to read contract, you will see different parameters here, and then one of them is owner. All right, you see the owner, you will see one of them, owner of address. So this owner of now is how you can identify the person that owns a particular address, all right, that is in charge of this whole function. Now that address could be a smart contract address or a personal address. All right, so now how do we know the address? Now what we do is we go to the transaction log. So if you go to the position manager, if you go to the position manager address, you will see different, you will see transaction, internal transaction, token transfer, BEP20, NFT transfers, other transactions, contract, and event. So if you go to event, you will see those functions. You see the function collect, decrease liquidity, transfer, approval. So let us look for increased liquidity that has to do with the loop. All right, let us look for increased liquidity that has to do with the loop, because the Bitnest own is the loop, where you loop. Once you loop, the liquidity increases. So there is a wallet that is in charge of that, these whole functions, increase liquidity and the rest of them. So if you go to the loop, you will see the transaction ID, the topic 1, which is the transaction ID, All right, so if you copy it, so let's copy the transaction ID. I mean the token ID. Let's copy the token ID. If you copy the token ID, go back to who own. All right, owner of. Go back to the owner of. So paste the token ID and query. So if you query the token ID, any address we see is the owner of that particular. So if you query, all right. So once you query, you can see that there is an address here. All right, you can see this address here. All right, this address here is the owner of all these pancake swap v3 position nft. So this address decides who gets paid and who does not get paid. So if we scan this address, if we click on this address, it takes us to here. All right, it takes us to here. All right, you can see the address here. You can see the address here. Okay, you can see the address here, and you see the whole logic here. So what is the function of this address? This address is the one that triggers that position manager to increase or decrease liquidity, collect fees, route withdrawals to any recipient, transfer the nft to another wallet. So yes, this is the wallet that have the control over the liquidity pool that you've seen. All right, the liquidity pool that is you've seen on Bitnest. Remember that the money is not on the nft, it is actually on the liquidity pool I showed you. All right, um yeah, so that is it. So the fund is in v3 pool, but this address has control of it. Okay, so now you may be asking why. Okay, why is it that the wallet looks empty? It is actually normal and intentional. All right, in setups like this. So liquidity is inside the pancakeswap v3 pool and not in this particular wallet. The liquidity is not in this particular wallet but in the pancakeswap v3 pool, which I have shown you before. All right, so but what this wallet does is that it controls the operator wallet. All right, so this wallet only holds gas bnb and nft approvers and the permission to move liquidity. So this person has the permission to move liquidity or pause payment. All right, so that is it. That is why there is low balance and very few transactions. Take a look, you see just that there are just few transactions here. All right, so no large USDT balance. So even if it is fund, you can see the last funded was 17 days ago. So they only need to fund transaction fee, and they don't really need to fund much money here because this wallet is just to enable some transactions to work. All right, so but there is a red flag in this wallet. All right, there is a confirmed red flag in this wallet. One of the red flag is that it is an EOA wallet and not a smart contract treasury. All right, which automatically make it centralized, not decentralized. So this wallet decides whether to pay you or not. All right, and the nft ownership is centralized, and it is controlled. All right, which automatically make it a centralized project, not a decentralized project. And this wallet collect recipients can change at will. Okay, so it changes who receives and who does not receive. It decides who receives and who does not receive. Okay, so users have no on-chain guarantee of payout. So there is no guarantee that you'll be paid unless the wallet owner decides to pay you. Okay, so Bitnest is using EOA instead of a smart contract to control payouts. So that is it. So the package swap v3 liquidity is controlled by the nft owner wallet that is ending in fcc, as we've seen. Okay, so although the funds sit in the pool, this EOA has full authority to collect, reduce liquidity and route withdrawal, making the system centrally controlled rather than trustless. All right, so that is it. So that is the whole thing that is controlling this whole logic, and we've seen that it is not a smart contract. You can see it's not a smart contract. If you take a look at here, you can see that this is not a smart contract but an EOA wallet that is controlling the whole thing. So that is it. Thank you.